$8 on this nut for nothing. It's another day working in the garage on the 56 Chevy. We're gonna try to fix something on the car that we screwed up in a previous video. In fact, the US mail delivered this package, which should contain the part to fix that, if it's the right size. But we're also going to paint our mystery engine, which is not a mystery anymore because in previous videos we discovered all of its little horsepower secrets. 57 people voted on which color this engine should be painted, and 67% voted for orange. 67% out of 57, that's 38.19 people. That's 38 complete people and a limb and a half. I would love to be painting some wheels and mounting brand new tires on them right now in this video, but I spent the last week digging through junkyards searching for a specific type of wheel for the 56 Chevy and came up empty-handed, but the project must go on, so we're getting done what we can. I wasn't planning on painting this week, but we got to keep moving. We got to do what we can. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep grooving. Now the oil pan, I'm 99.9% sure we got a truck oil pan here, and I'm 99% sure that we could put the engine in the car with the truck oil pan, but we wouldn't be able to turn. We would have oil pan edge, steering edge, contact edge. And you know what? I just thought about something. If we're painting the block and the heads orange, why don't we see how these gray valve covers look sitting on the orange block and heads? And you can comment if you think that they should stay gray, or if they should be orange as well, or if they should be black. And speaking of black, the timing cover has really nice black paint on it, so maybe we should see how the black looks up against the orange. You just saw decision making in real time here at Freeman's Garage. That's how some of it happens, just like that. You know, here's the thing. At the very beginning of this 56 Chevy project, I was thinking, man, I would love to restore it back to original. Well, that would be a 265 and 3 on the column. So then I start thinking, well, what if we did a small block? You know, we'll probably end up falling into a 350, do that, and we'll do a 4 on the floor. We'll hot rod it a little bit, you know? But recently, my mind started going towards, well, what about putting it back to the way it came from the factory? Kind of a partial restoration, but we've got this 87 to 95 small block in it. But then I started thinking, well, but we still want to do a 4 on the floor, and everybody voted for orange on the engine, which the engine would have been red, and we've got heads with center bolt valve covers. So if we've got an orange engine, center bolt valve covers, and a 4 on the floor, then maybe I should let go of my dream of the 1956 one-year-only specific wheels, which the only thing, oh heck, I'll show you. This is an original factory Chevrolet passenger car steel wheel. It's the only one I have. It came on the car when I bought it, and I would like to have 5 so that I can have 1 for a spare. Now this one, in a previous video, we cleaned it up and painted it, and I don't know everything, and I could get some things wrong, and we could really get lost in the weeds on this kind of stuff. But just to keep things simple, let's just point out the one thing that makes this wheel different from other factory GM steel wheels. Let's just think about Tri-5 wheels and 55 to 57. Well, 57s are 14-inch, so that don't work for us because this is a 15. We want 15. The 55 wheels are 15. There's more to it, but let's just keep it simple and look at this bead around here. The 55 wheels do not have this. Your 10 1/8 inch hubcap, dog dish, poverty cap, whatever you want to call it, snaps over this. These nubs here are for your full wheel cover, which our car did not come with. Ours came with the 10 1/8. But this extra bead here, that's the difference between the 56 wheel and the 55 wheel. I have found some sets of 56 wheels for sale and 55 wheels as well. But folks want for those, well, just about as much as brand new repops are, and that's fine, you know. You gotta pay for what you want, and I wouldn't expect anybody who's selling something to just give it away, right? I've just been hoping to get a set of wheels and tires on the car that we're gonna drive on, get them on the car for the, not just the motivational boost, but also for moving the car around, because I want to get going on a trunk floor ASAP. And I was thinking any old steel factory wheel wasn't gonna be that spendy, and so we could do both at the same time, but that's not the fact. So I don't want to blow the entire trunk floor budget on, well, almost all of it just on wheels. So that's why I spent the whole last week digging in junkyards, because there are a lot of factory steel GM wheels that look almost identical. And in these junkyards that I was digging through, you can get those for about $15 a piece. Well, a lot of factory GM wheels from about 1974 through 90. There's lots of exceptions, and even later wheels. Sure, I'm missing a whole bunch, but if you look at 74-ish to 90-ish, there's a lot of factory steel wheels that are 15 and 14-inch wheels, 5 on 4 3/4. They're not going to be 5 inches wide like the factory wheels, and that is also a factor for kind of how my mindset on this car is shifting a bit, and why I've been willing to look for these less expensive later stock wheels. Because the thing is if I find, say, a set of wheels that came off of an 80 Caprice, and they're 5 on 4 3/4, which station wagons, they might not be 5 on 4 3/4. The guy's just got to bring a tape measure with him. But any Hoosers, yeah, they're not going to be 5 inches wide. They're going to be 6 or 7 inches wide. So then that got me thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I don't want to run the skinny stock size tires on this car anyways. You know what I mean? If we've got a 350 bored out 40 over and a 4-speed on the floor, do we really want to be hot dogging around on little pizza cutters? But then that brings up a whole other thing, because that got me thinking, well, wait a minute here. We're not going to be going crazy, but if we're going to be out there pretending we're Richard Petty on bigger, wider tires, and with this motor and with the 4-speed, maybe we should ditch the factory ball bearings in the front. Maybe we should upgrade to roller wheel bearings on the front. Yeah. I don't know, I'm so confused. That was like a therapy session. Thanks for being there for me, man. I appreciate the shoulder. We got a new timing cover gasket that we will install as well. And did I mention a water pump earlier? We have one, so we might as well paint that and install it as well. We have the gaskets. All right, not much more to clean. And then we'll throw some Chevrolet Competition Orange on this thing. And then we'll start seeing how the silver and the black timing cover clashes with the orange. You don't see me sit down very often, do you? Well, this time I had to. The knees just were not taking it. I mean, if I got a chair that will save the back and the knees, why not use it? I was not planning on masking off each and every cylinder head bolt. But since we decided that we're not just going to do the entire engine just pure Chevrolet orange, we might as well see what these black ARP head bolts look like if we keep them unpainted. We're clearly not stripping this all down to bare metal, but I did go back to some areas that had flaky paint, chippy flaky paint, and scraped all that off down to bare metal, just because new paint's probably not gonna stick very well if you got flaky stuff underneath. It also occurred to me that I never pointed this out on this engine. I got this engine way up north near the Freeman's Garage, North Dakota location, and so it makes sense that it has a block heater in it. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, essentially, instead of a freeze plug or a frost plug, you put one of these in and you plug a cord into it and you run the cord across the sidewalk through the front yard and plug it into the side of your house. That tells me that this engine was probably not ever used for a specialty or a single purpose, such as maybe a demolition derby car or something. Get home from work, the plug is hanging out the grill of your truck. You plug it into the extension cord that's running up to your house. And when you get up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning, your coolant's nice and hot, your block isn't cracked, your engine's gonna start way easier, and you're gonna have heat in the cab a lot quicker. You know what the unfortunate part about block heaters is? There were examples of engine block heaters during World War II and going back earlier than that in northern Canada with use on aircraft. But the invention of the engine block heater for automobiles was invented by somebody who shares the same last name as mine, the first and last name of an uncle from mine, and who is from the same neck of the woods. So if you were reading about that, you'd think, boy, I bet old Freeman here got a heck of an inheritance. Got some of that invention money from 1947 or 48. Well, not related. Everything lines right up. Wow! My family invented the engine block heater? And then you find out, oh no. You weren't born, you were only hatched. I'm just joking around. But that is all true though. I've done 2 coats, it's gonna need another one, but I kind of had a little, there's a run right here, which the second coat covered up pretty well, so a third coat will probably cover that mistake completely. We'll let this set up for a little bit and then do a third coat. I'm trying not to breathe in enamel with ceramic. This is technology right here. The sun went down and the temperature plummeted to a frigid 52. Sounded like Mr. Haney. Well, I wouldn't say we need another coat actually. I think 2 did it, but just a little bit of touch up in some spots we should do, and then we will open that package and see if we can't fix. Oh gosh, if that's not fixable, oh man. Poke myself with the staple, and not the store, the actual ones that hold the papers together. My fingers look like I've been either painting Chevrolet engines or eating Cheetos. Hello, thank you for your purchase. 1 nut is enclosed. Here's enclosed nut. I want you to be satisfied with your purchase. If you, typo. I'm kidding. I'm not the kind to do that. I don't call the waitress over and point out typos in the menu. So we stripped the pinion nut out in that previous video that I had mentioned, and this is a replacement. That's the little spot in there that makes the locking action happen. Boy, I sure hope this goes well. Because if it doesn't, add ring and pinion to the list. After we pass or fail on this little mission here, we'll pull the masking tape off the engine and we'll put our valve covers and timing cover and whatnot on, and we will stand back and we will admire how amazing of a paint job it is, and we'll see how the colors work with the orange. The comedy bone. Okay, well, I would assume the smartest thing to do would be to have the side that's closest to our locking device there, I guess you could say, on the end closest to you. Okay, hold on. Reposition. Okay. We're just gonna set you on here, and you're just gonna thread right on. Easy peasy. Tangerine squeezy. Come on. Oh gosh. Is this gonna be one of these deals where I end up having to buy a brand new ring and pinion and it comes with a nut? And then I spent $8 on this nut for nothing. It was worth a shot. I actually ordered 2 of them. Just because why not? You never know. Well, unfortunately, we still have an issue here. Side note, if you buy a pinion nut from an unknown source, here's an issue I've had before with buying an aftermarket pinion nut. Is, you know, a lot of aftermarket parts are kind of one size fits all for a lot of different vehicles. You might buy one, and yeah, it might thread on to your pinion, but what you'll find out is that the outside of the nut is too thick, it's too big. The nut might thread on, but since the outside diameter nut is so big, you can't get the socket into your yoke, which ours fits, so that's good, but it's not threading on. There's nothing wrong with our nut. It's the very first thread on our pinion. It's kind of smushed down. That's the problem. If we could clean that up, the nut will go right on. I'm sure of it. And I don't have anything that size that we can clean those threads up with. So yeah, that's for a different day. Let's look at this. I mean that. Let's take a razor Ramon and start carving into this turkey. I'm just being careful not to pull this tape off in the wrong way and then end up pulling off an entire strip of paint. Oh, that is satisfying, and it's about to get even more satisfying. This is kind of like that thing they call Asmir? Is that what it is? Actually, you know what? What am I doing? Let's actually just leave this tape on here. We don't have an intake manifold, so we might as well just keep all that covered up just for extra protection even when it's in a trash bag. I mean, why not? Why would we take this off right now? If we need to touch anything up after we have the headers that we want on here and things like that, we can do that. Touching stuff up is easy and not a problem. So we're not gonna paint and install the water pump because there's no water pump bolts. I told you I wasn't planning on doing this today. So yeah, let's not do the timing cover gasket either because if we don't want it black, it's gonna come right back off, right? So let's just put it on as it is. And then we will put the oil pan on. I don't want it off any longer than it needs to be. There hasn't been any wind whipping through here. And I did do a sweep before we started our festivities today. I mean, there's that pile of floor dry on the floor, but... Oh man, that looks pretty cool. At first I was bummed out that we weren't going to be able to do wheels and tires today, but I'm glad we did this because this knocked off a good chunk, knocked off some hours on this project, and it looks killer. I mean, mommy, a little less weight in your saddle never hurts. So what do you think? So what are you thinking? Are you typing away down in the comments yet? Don't let the off-color oil pan throw you off, or the orange spark plugs. And there's 4 of these that go in on each valve cover that could be any color a gentleman might choose. See, you know, I like this, but I would like it if it was 100% orange too, or Chevy engine red, or black, or really just about any black, orange, red combination, I guess. And keep in mind, we will have an intake manifold on here. We could do the factory intake, and we could paint that orange as well, although that would, well, that's for a spread bore carburetor, which there's a way to work around that, but we don't want to run a spread bore carburetor, not on this bored out beast. So probably, you know, an aluminum aftermarket intake, maybe get on the Echo Bay and find an old school one to throw in here. Yeah, I don't know. Or we could just spend more money and get a full chrome kit. Nah, we want a trunk floor. I think that's most important. This is just between us. I don't know if you can even see that. Oh yeah, you can see it. There's this medium-sized run right there. Just between us. Do not tell anyone, because once it's in the car, no one's going to be able to see that unless they wedge their head back here, and I won't allow it, because that would mean they'd have to stand on the bumper. Oh, that's right, we don't have a front bumper. There's just always more stuff you got to buy, right? As the more time I spent around this engine in this video, I started realizing more things, such as, oh yeah, plug. Oh yeah, plug. Oh yeah, dipstick. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to buy spark plugs, headers, intake, carburetor, fuel pump. We got a block heater though. That's, you know, that's really all I care about. Alternator / generator. The bracket for that. A belt. Oh. Balancer. I feel like I bought a crate engine and I'm thinking, yeah, comes with everything, man. And then I put it in the vehicle and start realizing, oh yeah, I still gotta buy 10 million things. I forgot about these. There's 2 of these bolt holes on each side that we're gonna be utilizing the front engine mounts, which is why I didn't try to keep paint out of these threads for the side engine mounts. Not worried about that. It's kind of hard for a guy to make his mind up right now. There's time to stew on it. The water pump will be orange, just for reference. And we'll paint the we're going with just a stock balancer, so we'll paint that orange. So we'll have orange water pump and a big orange circle right here. An 8-inch circle. Whether going back to this probably being a truck pan, and we probably need a car pan. Either way, we will just be using a stocker type oil pan like this, so it won't have any fancy finish on it, so we can just easily paint it whatever color we want, black, orange, canary yellow. Yeah, I think, gosh, that's a toughie. Well, the factory engine that came in the 56 Chevy was red. There's many years where the Chevy engines were just pure orange. This engine here, this 87 to 95 engine, would have been black from the factory. I do dig the black head bolts against the orange paint. That's pretty cool. If we run a Wix filter, we'll have a black oil filter. If we run a Freeman filter, we'll have an orange filter. We're either gonna have a butterscotch, a black, or a red distributor cap right here. Ooh, you know what maybe we could do? The valve cover could be one color, let's say orange, but then in here, in all these, could be black down in there. Oh, but what do you do about this area? No, you would make that black too. So down in all these, black and then it would be orange on top. Or any other color combination. We could do plum perp. No, it's not a Mopar. Okay, alright. Tell me if you pick up what I lay down here. And I'm not saying that I want to do this, it just came to me like a hit song. Cylinder heads, engine block, Chevrolet orange, as they are. Timing cover, Chevrolet orange. Water pump, Chevrolet orange. Balancer, Chevrolet orange. Oil pan, Chevrolet orange. The black aftermarket hardware, black, as it is. Aluminum aftermarket intake manifold. And black inside these lines on the valve cover, like we said. Orange valve covers with black in there. So pretty much all Chevrolet orange, but then accented with the black hardware and black lines and black bolts. Why am I still wearing this? Actually, it's kind of warm. Or what if we left the valve covers the way they are with an aluminum intake and a black oil pan? And let's not forget that we're going to have orange front engine mounts here with grayish washers and black rubber bushings. Well, what if we painted the washers black and the bolts black? Or should they be... Alright, I'm taking it too far. I don't know. Let me know. Videos, tools, etc. are linked in the video description. And I'm sending you to watch the one where we jack that thing up on the car. I'm gonna go look at the parts catalog and get some inspiration. You know,